But getting downtown is just the beginning. The oil sands then go into a plant. They're heated in a cell, which separates the oil from the sand. The result looks like something out of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. This oil froth is sent to an upgrader and eventually to a refinery.
Got in a little earlier.
T. Boone Pickens, who once scoffed at the oil sands, is one of those investors. Pickens runs a hedge fund in Dallas and is now a true believer.
We're managing $5 billion here, and about 10% of it's in the oil sands. So it's the one single largest investment we have.
10% of $5 billion. I flunked math.
$500 million.
And if oil sands are the answer for investors, are oil sands the answer for the United States?
Oh, I think so.
Most of those lumbering trucks are on their way to the gas tanks of America. 1 million barrels a day are now coming out of the oil sands, and oil production is expected to triple within a decade. It won't replace Middle Eastern oil, but at that point, it will be the single largest source of foreign oil for the United States, even bigger than Saudi Arabia, which sends 1.5 million barrels a day to America.
When it comes to exploration in the oil sands, you can't drill a dry hole. It's there, we know where it is, they've outlined it, you don't have any risk. But other conventional sectors around the world, there's a huge exploration risk.
The exploration risks are the least of it. Much of the world's crude is in the Middle East, where the instability is deeper than the oil. When Alberta's blue-eyed sheiks took to Wall Street last summer in their Stetsons to drum up support for the oil sands, their message seemed to be, if you can't trust Alberta, who can you trust?
Alberta is a very good place to do business. It's a very stable environment.
I mean, you're understating it, aren't you? I mean, Alberta is as safe as you can get on this planet, isn't it?
It's a great place to do business.
And they haven't had a civil war for a while.
We haven't had a civil war for a long time.
We need another 100,000 people here in Fort McMurray.
That's why one oil company has built a runway to fly workers daily from civilization to Fort McMurray. But why would anyone want to come work in a place where temperatures plummet to 40 below and the sun sets shortly after it rises in the long winter? Well, perhaps because the oil companies pay some of the highest salaries in North America. Take George Schlichty.
It could be up to about, well, around here, maybe 120,000. So it's pretty good.
So you're going to be making 120 grand by the time you're 22, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
But unless the Chinese go back to bicycles and Americans trash their SUVs, there will be buyers for oil anywhere, no matter how it's found or mined. Right now, Canada has become the land of opportunity for oilmen. They'll tell you there's little else on the horizon. As blank as the landscape around Fort McMurray, where the world of oil exploration ends.
I think the days of cheap oil are gone.
They're gone. From what we knew as cheap oil, when I pumped gasoline in Ray Smith's Sinclair station on Hinckley Street in Holdenville, Oklahoma, 11 cents a gallon, that's gone.
$1.50 a gallon?
We won't ever see $1.50 a gallon. No, that's gone.
Right around the corner from Fort McMurray, you can still see oil being produced the traditional way. It's picturesque now. The wells are still pumping, but they belong to the past, like the iron horse that once rode across these prairies. The future? Up here in Alberta, they're convinced it's in the dirt.